Hello. I've been learning about Ferdinand de Lesseps. For the best part of his life, he was considered to be the embodiment of leadership excellence. Despite many naysayers and obstacles, and although he possessed precisely no engineering expertise, de Lesseps led the team who successfully created the Suez Canal, allowing shipping to avoid the hazardous southern oceans. De Lesseps' talent as a communicator established the value of the canal in the hearts and minds of investors, who understood that his team was made up of the finest engineering innovators on the planet. The resulting confidence in the master plan meant that, against the odds, the Suez Canal was completed, and international trade has profited ever since. This achievement led people to wonder if a similar transformation could take place in another challenging region. The proposed Panama Canal would connect the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans, avoiding the hazardous tip of South America. And why not? The proposed route for the Panama Canal was only 82 kilometres, 51 miles long, while the Suez Canal cut through desert sands for a distance of 193 kilometres, that's 120 miles. The Panama Challenge was less than half the distance, so it would surely require less than half the effort, less investment, and arguably less innovation. The chief requirement was a leader who was known to possess the stomach for a challenge. And of course, de Lesseps assumed the leadership role with enthusiasm, dismissing claims that this was a more dangerous project fraught with singular challenges. But there were challenges. For example, while Egypt is relatively flat and the Suez Canal could be constructed at sea level, the route for the Panama Canal was through mountains. Locks would be needed to ensure safe passage for shipping. In addition, unless it was diverted, the Chagres River threatened to flood the canal on a regular basis. Also, diseases such as malaria and yellow fever were likely to claim the lives of his workforce. When it came to this route canal work, de Lesseps wasn't inclined to succumb to the opinions of so-called experts, the behaviour of the mere river, and the threat of ill health. He was confident of success. De Lesseps' confidence was mirrored by his enthusiastic investors, who clearly believed that the great leader would overcome every challenge by sheer force of will. There's a term associated with this kind of belief: attribution error, a cognitive bias that overemphasises personality and character, the dispositional context, while underemphasising external and environmental factors, the situational context. Essentially, we attribute positive outcomes exclusively to an individual's charisma and reputation. Great leaders know that effective leadership is underpinned by consideration of the situation, the topography of the commercial environment in which their organisation operates. Great leaders also know that to achieve the right outcomes without risking loyalty, commitment, and investment, leadership communication must reflect the situational context as well as the dispositional. Force of will is not enough. De Lesseps learned this. Although the Panama Canal was completed, the end result came at huge cost, not only in terms of the vastly inflated investment required, but also in terms of lives lost and time taken. Many years before the project was finished, de Lesseps was relieved of his leadership role. At TWO, we work closely with leaders to create effective communications accounting for existing environmental factors while elevating the inspirational personal vision of leadership. We ensure that leadership communications land in exactly the right place, with exactly the right amount of impact at exactly the right time. To find out more about how we put our expertise to work, please request a TWO prospectus that includes some illuminating case studies, one of which tells of a major leadership communications challenge that demanded sensitive balancing of the dispositional and situational contexts. The outcome was hugely successful and groundbreaking. To start a conversation about your leadership communication needs, contact me today. TWO is uncompromising in the pursuit of leadership success, as uncompromising as every leader we work with.